Hey, welcome back. We're now at part 3 of week 3 into the new 52 in a segment that I've been calling RETCONVERSATIONS, which is the conversations about the retcons and other titles of the new DCU. Retcon brings me right to Supergirl #1. This seems to be another retelling or a retcon of her origin story. She is, she's brand new to the planet again. I mean, call me kind of crazy, but I actually really preferred the Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner comic. I liked her story in that one a lot better. I like her new costume. I think it's cool. I think we should kind of get off her back on this one a little bit. Again, I like that it's less sexualized. It's not just the skirt and the bare midriff and everything like that. It's, she's a little bit less sexy. Like they're really trying to flesh out her character. I enjoyed this issue more than I thought that I would. Mostly because I'm not a huge Supergirl fan, but like I said, I did really like her reintroduction into the DCU when Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner did it in the Superman Batman comic. I liked the the action, the disorientation, the discoveries of the different powers. It felt a little rushed, and to have Superman step on the playing field while all this hell is kind of breaking loose. Again, it feels really retcon-y. Again, to something that happened so recently, like with Jaime Reyes and Blue Beetle, as I was talking about before. But this one just struck me as being a little stronger of an issue. I'm curious to see how this goes, but I don't know how curious I am whether or not this is going to be a box pull for me. Okay, Resurrection Man, #1. It's from last week, I know, but I didn't get to read it until this week. I expect a lot from Abnett and Lanning with their work on Marvel, particularly with their work on Nova, which became rapidly a big favorite of mine, that comic. So good. I loved their take on Nova. So when I say I expect a lot, I mean that. Mitch Shelley, the series that the Resurrection Man series they did in the 90s, I really dug. It's dropping the reader, the audience, into an interesting world with a really interesting character. There's a really cool plot twist that happens in the book. Didn't expect it to, kind of go that way at all, but it did. The art's really strong, but I thought the ending felt, the book in itself just felt rushed. But the character of Mitch Shelley, I think, is going to be enough to keep me interested for a little while, because it's a cool power, So, I'm on board for, a couple more issues, but I don't know, honestly, for how long. Because I think they kind of need to get more on the ball with this one. Okay, Nightwing. Kyle Higgins. Really good. This is really good first issue. Again, this is a good introduction. This is one of those issues that I was talking about before, where it's a good mix of there's stuff that's gone on before, but there's a new world to explore here. What's cool about Nightwing as a character is essentially he is Batman. He has a lot of the same skills. He doesn't have that same kind of fear power that Batman has, but he was Batman for a while, so I mean, he does kind of have that. But what makes this comic so good is it really does a lot of justice to the character of Dick Grayson and the delineation between him and Bruce Wayne. That they're both orphans, they're both, somewhat, damaged in their lives, but Dick still maintains a much more kind of youthful and playful attitude towards his crime fighting, rather than being 100% grim 100% of the time. So that's what really works in this comic for me, was the characters and the characterization, and how Higgins, I think, really went out of his way to really split those, to make these two characters who are so much alike still very, very different and very interesting to read and very fun to read. So that's what is going to keep me coming back to this. So this is one that's going to go in my pull box. Brings me to well, okay, that's actually a bad segue. So Wonder Woman #1, Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chiang, great art by Cliff Chiang. I have to say that right off the bat. I agree with a lot of what I've read and seen online as far as reviews of this book. It's a strong issue that does make you want to come back for more. But it still has a problem with defining Diana as a character. What is her ultimate motivation here? Is it merely to protect? Is it, is she a warrior or is she a protector? I like that they're going for more a mythological horror angle with this, rather than it being just a flat-out action book, because, there's such a glut of that anyway. We don't need more, or at least too many more that are done, for the most part, either, decent or mediocre or just flat-out shit. So again, it's really, Diana is a really hard character to get with. She's part of DC's Holy Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, but she's the hardest character to really get a definition for. Superman stands for truth and justice. Batman is, man still, kind of out racing the demons of his past. Diana is a very ambiguous character, and unfortunately she has what is, easily of the Trinity, the lamest rogues gallery ever. Well, I shouldn't say ever, but certainly of those three, and also ever, because I don't really know too many big, other than Cheetah, I don't know really any awesome, Wonder Woman villains. That's a problem that she has always had, I think. And I'm hoping that Azzarello will find a way to work around that to give us something interesting. And it is really interesting. It's a really solid book. But, again, she's just a hard character to get behind. So that's where I'm going to kind of leave that. Now we're going to go on to the book of the week, which should come as no surprise to anybody. It's Batman #1. And the main reason for this being #1 is that Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder is such an incredible talent. He's worked so hard and so well over these past couple of years to really, I mean, solidify a name for himself and be absolutely terrific. He's been, he's been great from the word go. I mean, with, his work on Detective, which is, easily his best run since Paul Dini was working on it, with, American Vampire, with, now with Severed. He's turned into a master craftsman. He is, beyond people who have been working in this field for decades. I mean, just the levels of greatness and the continuing greatness that he keeps putting in. Swamp Thing #1, that was my book of the week. It's, arguably the strongest of all of the, DC, all of the new 52s. But this is really, really close up there. Greg Capullo's art, wow. I heard somebody describe it as a mix between Bruce Timm and Todd McFarlane, somewhere in the middle. And that's true. And I really like how a lot of, where Batman is really seen, cloaked in darkness. What an opening too. I mean, I see kind of the, some people were having some problems with, the redesigns of some of the characters, like especially the Riddler having the, the green hair that's kind of pseudo mohawked into a question mark, and he has like question mark tattoos on his bald head. That's a little weird, but he's fighting his way. I mean, that's how this begins. This is Bruce's reintroduction to Gotham City, is he has to fight his way through Arkham Asylum. I mean, the inmates of Arkham Asylum, I should say. And it was glorious to see. And that's the, and that's like the first 7 or 8 pages, and he's done. I mean, this is Batman as we know and love him. He's a fierce, absolutely kick-ass warrior, but then Snyder very wisely takes it back a beat, and we see Bruce Wayne, kicking it with, some of his almost Bond-like, gear with the contact lenses that have, all these different abilities, and it's just, that's some awesome stuff. There's some, some nice quips that, that the different Robins have had. Again, there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect here as far as the, as far as the age difference is concerned. Also, I was a little bit stunned at the height difference between Bruce and Dick, especially when Dick was supposed to be Batman for a while, or was Batman for a while. I shouldn't say supposed to be. He was Batman, and he actually was really good as Batman. But this is how both Bruce Wayne and Batman should be. This is how both of these characters should act. And then when we finally get to a crime scene, we see he's using his, ultra deductive powers, or I should say abilities, because they're not powers, they're abilities. And it's just, I mean, an absolute pleasure to read, an absolute pleasure to look at. This is such a strong issue. Again, Scott Snyder, I absolutely 100% salute you. You have done another great, great piece of work for DC. So as far as kind of how I'm going right now, I'm going to throw this out here. This is what my pull boxes are going to be. These are what I'm saying, and then some of the stuff that is not. So stuff that's going in my pull box: Animal Man, Swamp Thing, Demon Knights, Batwoman, Nightwing, Batgirl. Still going to give it a chance. Batman, obviously, Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, Batwing, Men of War, Deathstroke, Wonder Woman. Absolutely not. Red Hood, Suicide Squad, Grifter, Legion of Superheroes, Legion Lost, Action Comics, Captain Atom, Green Arrow, Hawk and Dove. Probably not. Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps, Supergirl, Stormwatch, JLI, OMAC, DCU Presents, and Blue Beetle. On the fence, Catwoman, some other stuff. So, we'll see you next time. Take it easy.